So my name is Evelyn Kofi. I am the center manager at Kaya Childcare. That means I take care of day-to-day operations, liaison between the teachers and the mothers, and look for money for grants and that kind of thing. So a kayayo is a porter, if you have to get it in English. So some people call it a human shopping cart. In Ghana we have markets where people go shopping, and the kayayos will carry whatever food items or whatever items you are buying from the market using the bowl, the silver bowl that they carry on their head. So that's where the name kaya came from. Now the childcare, the kayayos do this with their babies on their back, or their babies are at the market. So the founder of Kaya, Rose Dodd, saw that gap, that the government will take care of the kayayo but kind of forget about the baby on the back. So we saw that opportunity, or a gap, that these kids are left out in education, in the social being. So she decided, why not have a place where the kayayo mother can leave the child while working within the proximity where she can come whenever she wishes to. And this was in 2016. It was more like a project that started that way, like a project, and initially became an organization. A research was done to kind of understand the migration of the kayayos from the north, and it's something that is not going anywhere. The government tried to eliminate it. It's not working. It's a source of living, so it continues. Some come to stay, some come and do what they need to do, and they go back. So after the research, we figured out this can work. So we mounted a tent in the middle of the market and see if the kayayos would bring their kids, and they didn't, interestingly. So the market women who also work at the market were more interested in what we did. So when that happened, when they brought their kids, they also started bringing their kids, and then there was a bit of trust built. So the space in the market became a bit smaller to maintain what we wanted to do. So we had to move, a street away from the market. So that's how they started bringing their children, and that's how the childcare started. This was 2016. So 2018, that's when we moved to a bigger place, a more structured place. That's where the actual structure came in, where we had a curriculum. We didn't even use the regular curriculum that the Ghana education used. We had to tailor-make the curriculum that fits their lifestyle and their way of life. So we've been on it up to date. So the market opens at 4 a.m. as early as 4 a.m. Some people come as early as 3 o'clock in the morning, but we open at 6:30. Because the shoppers, people who actually do the shopping, come around 7:30. So the mom can drop their child at 6:30, and then they'll bring them breakfast with them, and then we used to close at 4. And the more we looked at the situation, like at 4 o'clock the child goes back to the market, and that kind of defeated what we wanted to really accomplish. So we now started closing at 6, because at 6 really the market begins to slow down. Nobody comes shopping at that time. So we open from 6:30 to 6 p.m. The mother drops the child in the morning, and then they pick them up at 6 o'clock. So they get fed lunch and dinner, and they get 2 snacks in between the day. The mothers, those who are breastfeeding, they could come to the center and breastfeed, and then go back and continue with whatever they're doing. So that's the procedure of how it goes. A typical day, so they are dropped in at 6:30, 7 o'clock. The latest most mothers come is 8 o'clock. By 8:30 the kids are in. So between 8:30 or between 8 and 9 is free time. The kids are in the playground playing, doing some kind of PE activity, jumping around, singing songs. Then at 9 o'clock, formal academic starts. So they start with reading. Some do IT. We have small tablets for them to do the IT. So depending on the class, every class is scheduled for a different thing at 9 o'clock. And then that lasts for about half an hour. Then they go back to their classes. And they get, the teachers have their own lesson plan for the day. That's about an hour and a half. And then from there, after the actual lesson, then they'll have lunch. Then after lunch, they will do, like, it's just more like another free time where they're just around the center. And then those who leave early, we have some children that are picked up early, around 2 o'clock, then they will go, but majority of them will take a nap. And then it's like a calm down time. And then 2:30 to 3 o'clock, they'll have another activity, which is not more of writing or reading. It's just like creating something, touching something, building something. So they'll have that activity. Then after that activity should be around 3:30, 4 o'clock. 4:30, then they have their dinner, or no, they'll have a snack first around 3, and then at 4:30 they'll have the main dinner. Then from 4:30 to 5, we start wrapping up those who need to take a shower, change their clothes, and by 5:30, 4:45, the parents start coming, and by 6 o'clock, for the most part, all the kids are gone.
Get me rowdy.
So the driving purpose is, if these kids are left in the market, one, they're not going to have access to early childhood. And research has shown that early childhood is the base of anybody's life. I mean, people were followed. There was a research that was done from the time the subjects were young until they actually had a career. And when they compared those who had early childhood education, there was a big difference. So that's one. Two is, when they get to the age of 6, 7, you have not been to any school or any for some kind of education. So the gap is already created. The self-esteem is already lost. As a result, they're like, well, why not? We've seen Kayayos as young as 10. So the trends continue. So then these kids are very vulnerable. They are on the streets, and they pick up the Kayayo trend, and then they become, so that's child labor as it is. They start working as early as that. Then there's no hope for school. And that by the time they turn 10, 11, it's very hard to convince them to go back to school. The other aspect is the social aspect. If when they come to a regular school where they meet with other kids, you know, that's a bit of a stigma that you haven't been to school, you are a child of a career. So there's already a social issue. So we're trying to kind of guide these kids. We guide them up to class 3. So even after they graduate kindergarten, we parent them, or we are like their guardianship all the way into class 1 until class 3, so that they have that confidence, like somebody's watching our backs all the way to the point where they are really independent, and the parent can really take over at that point. So we're trying to really, that's our goal, that they get the education, they avoid the risks that are involved in being in the market as a child, and also not to follow the same trend of being a Kayayu. So give them a different future an equal opportunity of a future. When we first graduated our first batch, when we took them to the regular school, they were far above the regular school. So I'm like, okay, so there's something here. We're doing something. The confidence the kids had was amazing. I mean, the fact that they had somebody with them all the time there, that was one. You go to the market and you see the kids that being proud, like the parents were just proud to see the progress in their kids. So really, unless you were told that these are Kaya kids, you wouldn't even tell. They just, the assimilation into just the society around them is like really an aha moment for us. Yes.
Please let me see. Let me see yours. Good. Sifra, let me see yours. Count another two, let me see. Different two. That was the Sifra. Yes, we are putting all together. Let me have a look. So let's put all together and count and see. 3 plus 2. Let's see. So let's count together and see. 5. So 3 plus 2 is equal to what? 5. Good.
Other than money, I still manage in running expenses, because we need to be writing grants. We have private donors. We need to be constantly looking for money to maintain our daily expenses. That's our number one challenge. The second challenge, we actually worked on it. I mean, the Kayas already feel a little bit out of the society. So being able to find ways to work with them to, we have rules and regulations that they need to follow. Try and work with them. So that was a challenge, but it's a working process. Like, come and pick up your child at 12 and they come at 3. We have to work through all those things. Like, okay, and it could be like, for example, I'll give you like the lateness. It could have been that they don't necessarily know what time is it. So we have to come up with different means to say, okay, when you see the sun going this way, then it's time to come. One is to be able to have a model that can be replicated, that other markets, other regions can replicate the same system, because the Kayos are not only in Accra, they are in bigger cities in Ghana, Kumasi, Ashanti regions, like different regions, different markets where you will find a Kaya. If this model can be replicated, that those kids can also get the opportunity. That's one. The second one is to be, the more kids we get, the better. The more we can capture to get into the system, even the better. If we can also grow as an organization to be able to let them get to the next step after kindergarten, be able to follow them all the way to high school. How is that possible? When the Kayos leave Accra and they go back home to the north, if we are able to have those links, solid links, we do have now, but they're not as solid as we would like them to be, so that we can really follow them from where we pick them from until where they go. We have what we call adopt a child. So we have at this point, we have about 3 kids that already have sponsors that they have committed to sponsoring them all the way until tertiary. So that is great. We need to get more sponsors to just kind of, what's the word I can use? Sponsor a child, almost like a mentor kind of thing, because that's how the others got that. So they want to be mentors for this kid, like, okay, this is what I did, and if you like to do that, that's what, I'll support you all the way. So basically supporting each child if you can, or more than one child at a time. Yeah.